Well, hey there, everybody. What we did on that previous page that we made, a greeting, we created a little JavaScript. It wasn't that complicated. It simply was 3 lines, a little prompt, joined some text in a variable together, and then we displayed a hidden text box. What we're going to do today is we're going to create a couple of small functions. And what we're going to do is have an image that you like. That's kind of a nice picture of you or whatever. Could be out from the internet, anything very nice. And then we're going to manipulate it. We're going to modify it a little bit. When the user mouses over that on your web page, the picture is going to change. It's going to go from the nice picture that you had to this kind of weird, wacky picture. And then when they mouse off of it again, it's going to pop back to the original image. Again, it can be friends of yours, folks that you know, or it could just be out a random picture from the internet. It could be nature, it could be people. I'm going to do a nice family. So that's the first step. The first step is to go out and acquire a picture that you want to use. Then we'll manipulate it, and then we'll make that web page. So what I'm going to do is let's get a nice family. So I'm going to just Google nice family, and this is what pops up. And these people over here, what a nice looking family. So I'm going to create that, and this does keep, because there we go. I'm going to save this image as, and my recommendation is that you save this, instead of saving it as a nice family, that you save it as roll1, and then the second picture that we create, that's going to be called roll2. Do pay attention to a couple things. Where are you saving it? So the last time that I saved an image, I saved it to my images folder. That's correct. But the name is wrong. So I'm going to change that from nice family to roll1. So it's called roll1. It's a JPEG. Pay attention to that as well. What's the extension? Maybe there's an E in there, or perhaps it's a PNG, something like that. So roll1 is the name that I want, and we're good. So I'll save that, and that's all great. The next thing to do is to open up an online web editor that will picture editor that will allow you to modify that. And the one that I'm going to use is one called Pixlr. So pixlr.com. And that's not the, I'll get out of that. So now that I have that image, you need to go to pixlr.com. You'll probably need to create an account. Use your cusd.me account, the email account for that. There's a little sign-in thing. But once you do that, you'll be able to modify that. They have some kind of cool tools that you can use to change things up a little bit. So once you've done that, that's great. I'm going to upload an image. So I could either copy the URL. That might have been a little easier. But I already have this thing called roll1. So that's what I'm going to open up. There it is. So here's the nice family that I created, or I didn't create them, that I have. And now what I want to do is I'm going to use some of these tools in here. So these are kind of the basic functionality that you might have. You can add different layers and do very nice things, and crop things out and change things, and have put people together that aren't really there. I'm going to use this liquify tool to change the way that the pixels actually are arranged on the page. There's also a paint and the usual kind of thing that you would expect with a web editor. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of morph and warp all of their faces. So their bodies are going to be the same, but I'm just going to change their faces to do different things. And so I can push some pixels around. I can push things out. I can squish them together, and then I can twirl them. So maybe this mom here, I'm going to make her face twirl. That's maybe too big because I'm now twirling Dad's face too. So maybe that's what I'm going to do. So that her forehead will be all good and whatnot. And it's going to spin this. Notice that it's spinning it to the left in a counterclockwise direction. So if I click and hold, maybe. Come on, man. You're killing me. So turn that part off. Let's see if I can get it to go now. And it still doesn't do it. Come on. Spin it the other way. There we go. So there's Mom, and she's now a little cockeyed. Dad, we'll have him go the other way. So he's got a slightly bigger face. I can make it slightly bigger. That looks good. And we'll just go to spin him going the other way. Very nice son and daughter here. And so maybe on this guy here, I'm going to shrink those pixels in. He's got a smaller head than Dad. There we go. And now he's got kind of a squished face, and maybe we're going to blow hers up. We'll go the opposite way. And there you go. That's truly horrifying. All right, so I've just tweaked them around a little bit. There was a nice picture, and now they look kind of cattywampus and weird and wacky and whatnot. I'm now going to go to save. I'm going to save that file, which is basically download it. The file name originally was roll1. I want to change that because I want to keep that the original picture. So I'm going to change that to roll2. It's still a PNG, the quality, whatever. I'm going to keep it the way that it was, and I'm going to now download that. So it's been downloaded. I want to make sure that it's been put in the right folder. So before I go too much further, okay. So let's see where it ended up. So there's roll1, not in the right spot. So here's my downloads. And oh, there's roll2. So I have to now drag it, move it from where it was originally saved to that images folder. And then we've got roll1 and I have roll2. So now I'm ready to make my web page. So let's do that. I'm going to open up my text editor. So I'm going to open up my text editor, which is right here. And I've created the source code for you right off the bat. So if you go to Moodle and you click this link here, the create a rollOver.html page, here is a step-by-step on how to do exactly that. And so the source code I'm already providing you. So I'm going to select everything from the open HTML to the close. I'll just copy that, go to my text editor and paste. And there is a skeleton of my rollover web page. Not much is happening here. I do have the start of my script tag. I've got it centered. There's no heading. I'd like you to create one. There's no link to and from index. I'd like you to create that as well. But I do have that image that is popping up. I'm setting that to 400. You can change that to some other value that makes sense that you're going to like. So it wants to know, where do you want to save it? The last time that the text editor saved was to my website 2 folder, so it's probably where it's going to default. Yep, sure enough. It still thinks it's a text document. It's not. I would like you to call this roll over capital O. rollOver.html. And that is then going to be saved to that folder. That looks good. And let's see if that image popped up. So here's my website 2 folder, index and greeting. There's rollover. So if I double click on that, here is my very nice family. There's no script yet for it to change, but that image is popping up at 600 pixels across. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'd like to make a slight change and have this to mouse over begin that transition. So when the mouse moves over the image, it's going to flip. I've also created that. So the first thing that I want to do is here is the function that is going to switch it from when roll in is called, it's going to look for that image called roll2. So I'm going to select everything there. And I'm going to add that to my script. So this is a JavaScript function that I have going. So I'm just going to paste it inside of this. I like to tab over too, by the way, so that everything kind of stands out every time that I do that. I'm going to just sort of tab that over. And so it knows, I think, that where to look for that particular image. And we'll see if that works. So here's my function called roll in. Now notice that there's nothing in this tag that says, oh, pay attention to where the mouse is. I need to, there's no call to my roll in function. All right, so it's a little like if you, in App Inventor, we would create a procedure and then we never call it. All right, so why isn't this working? Oh, because you never call the update score procedure. So that's what's happening here. We created that, but there's no call to that. And that code is on the next block. So here's my roll 1. And I'm just going to copy this code here. And I'm going to replace this line with what I just copied. All right, so here's roll 1. When on mouse over, it knows, here, I got to change that back to 600. It knows to call this particular our function called roll in. There is something that is a little interesting with this. It's the keyword this. I'm passing that image as a parameter. In order for which image do I want to make, I'm going to be passing the image that gets passed. So in other words, if I wanted a different file to do the same thing, a different image to do the same, have that same kind of mouse over effect, I could do that. I only have the one, so I could probably get away without that. But I'm going to pass the keyword this. That's going to be stored as a variable called the image that I made. And we should be able to have it change from the original to that second picture that I made. There's nothing that changes it back. So once it happens, it should be stuck. We'll see if that happened. So save, come back over here. Here's my roll. I'll reload it. Moment of truth. And it broke. So let me try to figure out, oh, I think I know what happened on that. Let me pause this. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll keep going. I think the problem, just to keep going, how do we get this up? That's annoying. All right, so I think the problem is that the source is not going to the right spot. So it's going to, it's looking where it currently is, and this is actually inside my images folder. So I'm going to put images slash. Does that take care of it? There's the original picture. Yeah, and it did. So now once they're messed up, it doesn't know to go back. All right, I have to hit the refresh button. So there's the nice family. Did it again. There's the nice family. And then as soon as I bring the mouse over, it's going to switch from roll 1 to roll 2. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to go back. When I move the mouse away from that picture, I want it to trigger to go back and find that the original picture. I pass that code along to you as well. So that is over here. I'm going to create a whole second function. So now we have two functions going on our on this page. Be nice if I had a nice little tool to do that. So on roll out, I want it to go to my roll1.jpg. Similarly, I need to get that images folder correct. So it now knows to in the right spot. And so when it is rolled in, it's going to be getting the funky picture. And when I roll out, it's going to be reassigning that roll 1. Similarly, there's no call yet to this new function. There is a call. Here's the call to roll in. But what happens on mouse out? So you can just copy. I'm also giving you that code. And then replace all of this guy with that. And you should have, so on, oops, that's a typo, I'll fix that. So on mouse out, it's, I'm calling the rollout method. So it's going to my roll1.jpg. On mouse over, it's calling roll in. And here's my roll in. That's calling getting the second image. That should be enough to get that to fly. Let's take a look, see if that works. Here is the nice family. Oops, this is the nice family. There it is. And when they mouse over, they change. When they mouse back, they change back. This is a little bit smaller because I set it to 400, so I can edit this back and make that 600, whatever size you like. Now they're bigger. Hey, that's kind of cute. All right. The only other thing that I would like you to do is to add a heading at the top, create a link that is going from your from this page back to your index, make a link that goes from your index page back to this, and so that you have a little navigation. And that's it. I think that was kind of fun. Hope you did too. And I'll show you how to turn it in momentarily as soon as I figure that out. Talk to you later.